I want to salute you, homie, for building your own thing and doing your own thing, creating your own platform, your own website.
With my boy Alfred on Mr. Taliaferro.com.
MrTaliaferro.com.
Like right now, I'm about to go to Walmart.
Just to see you with your logo on your mics.
You're rocking with MrTaliaferro.com.
Y'all go to MrTaliaferro.com. It's going down.
My biggest gift is my voice. It allows me to speak to the culture.
Right now you're turning up on MrTaliaferro.com, shawty.
Back again, Mr. Taliaferro TV, another Taliaferro podcast. This will be episode 4. We are growing quickly. The first one did about 5 views the first day. Now we had like 25. If we keep up that rate, in a few weeks I'll be at over 25 to 50,000 views. So hey, maybe we can keep growing at that rate. I'm not mad at that. So this podcast, I want to switch over. The first one was about me. And the next 2 have been about sports-related topics. I want to switch up a little bit. And I want to cater this podcast to music. And I want to cater it to the top of the top. Let's talk about Drizzy Drake a little bit. Now, I'm going to do a podcast in the near future about Drake himself and his career, his longevity, how he plans to retire at 35. I got a few podcasts that I'm going to do on Drake in the future. This isn't just that. This is about Drake and his direction from a musical standpoint. Now, I want you to, during OVO Fest a couple days ago, rather, Drake brought out Rihanna on the first night. And then on the second night, he brought out Rihanna, and then he brought out Kanye West. Now, in the midst of bringing out Kanye West announced, "Are y'all ready for this album?" And, people in the crowd, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of Kanye fans there. Oh, The Life of Pablo 2? New Kanye, new Ye album? Hell yeah. I'm ready for that. And then, he says, I'm not talking about that album. I'm talking about another album. So now people like, oh, the mixtape that Drake's been talking about? New music from Drizzy Drake with Kanye producing? And he's like, I ain't talking about no new Drake project. I'm talking about the Kanye and Drake album. Remember a couple years ago, not even a couple years ago, the last time Kanye did a Breakfast Club interview, he spoke about how if he does another album with someone else, it probably wouldn't be with Jay-Z, it'll be with Drake. And he said that the Wolves track that was on his album was actually something that him and, it had some Drake in it. It was, something him and Drake talked about. The track was originally for Drake to get on. So I want to put on a side note, an asterisk, that Jay-Z said he wouldn't do an album with anybody outside of Kanye at this point in his life, but I guess that's neither here nor there. But I want to talk about how Drake, a lot of people say Drake rides the hot wave. What do I mean by that? Okay. In 2000, what was that, 14 now? Wow, I'm getting old. 2014. The biggest group and the biggest wave that summer was the that was the Migos flow. And remember, one of the songs that was popping that summer was Versace Medusa. I mean, like I'm Illuminati. This is a gator that come in there. We get off that property. Remember when Drake remixed that track and it went crazy. Anything Drake touches, it usually go crazy, especially when he hops on hip-hop records, remixes, verses. It went crazy. And what actually happened in the grand scheme of things is we forgot that it was even the Migos song. And you get in these clubs, and what became of it is you play the chorus and you get right into Drake's verse. So in a way, the Migos got canceled out of their own record. Fast forward last summer, 2015. What was the biggest record last year? Baby, won't you come my way? Yeah, I got something I want to say. And then Drake coming, all I gotta do is put my mind in this shit. And what happens? We forget that Monty is even on the record. And just like that Versace verse, the first Versace record the previous summer, it's, baby, won't you come my... All you get is the chorus, and you get right into Drake. So essentially, we forget that that's Fetty Wap's track. His verse is not the memorable verse on that record anymore. It's all about Drizzy Drake. Now, one will argue rappers Put out better verses and you won't be so forgettable on tracks. Stop letting Drake kill you. But a lot of people will argue that Drake's just always riding hot waves. All right, let's fast forward. That same summer, let's keep in mind, last summer was the summer of who? The summer of Future. 5 mixtapes shouted. You know, mixtape after mixtape after mixtape. Future was putting in work from January on now. It was his year. The only other artist that could, claim that they're not as hot, that they weren't as hot as Future in hip hop would be Drake. The only artist. But Future was controlling the streets. And the way Drake combated that, after his beef with Meek Mill, he combined with Future to create a What a Time to Be Alive. Now, and now a lot of people would think that's just Drake riding hot waves. And I think that's more of riding the hot waves than anything because, Meek Mill, as soon as he got out of jail, him and Drake did the Rico track together. And I won't knock Drake for that one because people reach out to Drake to do music. We cannot knock the man for being a smart businessman. But I do think it sometimes crosses over to riding the high wave. Recently, back on the road, Gucci Mane just got released from jail. One of the first tracks you hear. Yeah, I'm back on the road. We hear that, and it has come out in the media that apparently Drake and Gucci Mane this is what Zaytoven confirmed, have a 6-song EP on the way. And it's pretty much views from the 6. Gucci Mane claims his own 6. Drake obviously claims the 6 in Toronto. Another example, Gucci Mane wasn't even home 2 weeks yet and they got in the studio. Now, people will say that's Gucci Mane reaching out to Drake. I think it's a little bit of both. I think Drake's a great businessman. He understands opportunities and he knows how to keep himself hot. Now, I'll argue this to a lot of people who are going to say Drake just ride high waves. I will say this. Maybe you need to do the same thing because Drake is hot as ever. A pop star is able to be in different countries around the world, be hot there, and still be the hottest thing in hip-hop. Maybe y'all need to start doing some of the things that Drake does because that man is hella successful at what he's able to do. Apple deals. A lot of deals on the table for Drake. A lot of money being made over there in that OVO camp because of listen, when Meek Mill dissed Drake, 2 things got exposed. Drake really seemed as if though he didn't want to diss Meek Mill back, but he did it anyways. And the second thing is Meek didn't have his team, the Dream Chasers, he just doesn't have the smart enough team around him to compete with OVO and Drake's camp. Drake has one of the smartest teams we've ever seen, period. Maybe outside of Beyonce's and Jay-Z's team, which kind of go hand in hand, that husband and wife there. I don't think we've ever seen an animal like Drake and his team. Joe Budden says a lot of things, but I think one thing he said that might be true when he did a podcast with the Brilliant Idiots, shout out to Charlamagne and Andrew Schultz, is Drake is a concept, and I kind of agree with that. We know he's a person, but Drake is like a concept, and a whole team is combated, and they're sold on making sure this concept is a powerful global conglomerate. So with that being said, let's keep it moving. Let's keep this Drake trolling thing moving. Back to the Kanye West possible album coming out. Do you want to see this as a fan? I'm going to pose this question to you guys, and I want y'all to comment all responses. I want to know, do you want to see this? I mean, it's a great question for hip-hop. And I don't know if I want to see this, I think the production will be amazing on it. I really do. I think the production will be amazing on it. But at some point, I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to. I like Watch the Throne. I like saying that was a moment in hip-hop where Jay-Z and Kanye did that. And I always slap myself on the forehead for missing that Jay-Z and Kanye West tour. I really do. And not being too young to embrace what that meant for the culture. Because it probably won't happen again. Now, look, Drake has been adamant in saying that, he's retiring at the age of 35. Drake is pushing 30 now. As a matter of fact, his exact age. Right now, Drake stands at 29. He'll be 30 in October. So, with that being said, Drake, if you go, for me personally, I don't know if I want to see Drake just flood the market with music, just because I'm sorry I was reading something about apparently Eminem's supposed to drop a diss track to Drake, but neither here nor there. Here's the thing, Drake, I don't want to see him just flood the streets with so much music until he's 35 and just call it quits. But I understand why, though. I understand what he's doing. He's trying to get in, get out of this thing, and and fall away from it. Kind of like how Hove has been able, like after Hove put out before Magna Carta Holy Grail, you know, a Hove verse is classic. It's legendary, and it still is. When you get Hove on a track, even though he's doing a lot more music now, it means something. And Drake wants his music to mean something, you know, kind of the opposite of how a Wayne verse should mean more. And it doesn't right now. That Wayne verse should mean way more. You get Wayne on a record, that should be iconic. But because Wayne flooded the market so much and his music was kind of watered down, a Wayne track is a Wayne track. So I understand it. I understand both sides of it. I do believe Drake kind of chose the culture. Would I like to see more interviews from Drake? Yes. If you're going to talk about you to top this, you to top that. And now in his music, Drake will talk about, man, how he ain't scared of nobody, how he ain't backing down from nobody, how you pull up on him, you go get dealt with and all that. Listen, if that's the case, I want to be able to, you know, hear your interviews, those classic interviews that impact the culture. You should be held accountable for that. But right now, we ain't getting that. We are not getting that from Drake. We're just getting somebody who controls hip. And right now, there is no questions. Drake is the top artist in the game by far. It ain't even close right now. But at the same time, it does feel as though Drake trolls the culture a lot and knows the weaknesses of his fans, and he knows how to make that hot record that'll stand forever. So a Drake and Kanye album, for me, I ain't really rocking with it. I don't think I want to hear it. I just don't. But I would love to know your comments. This is episode 4 of my podcast. I think we're about finished here. But there's a strong possibility. This is not just something that's going to go away. Kanye just don't speak on crap and not put it in existence. There's a strong possibility, guys, that we're going to get a Drake-Kanye album. And I don't know how I feel about that. If it happens, of course, I'm going to listen to it as a fan of hip-hop. But I don't know if I really want that, man. I don't know if I really want that. I respect these two artists individually. And I respect that level of competition from the two, where I don't have to worry about these two artists ever doing a lot of records with each other. I want to respect the fact that these are two individual entities. And I like that competition level in hip-hop. I want to be able to talk about his views better than the life of Pablo or vice versa. Now, if everybody's doing records, it kind of loses back to what 50 Cent said a while ago about hip-hop. Everybody's friends. There's no competition anymore in the game. This is episode 4 of my podcast. I would love for you to talk to me in my comment box below. I don't take your time for granted. Thank you for it. Episode 4 of my podcast. Thank you for all the love and support. It means the world to me. This podcast, again, brought to you by About Damn Time Clothing. Got links in my description about where you can get some of the hats, clothes that I'm going to be rocking in the next few weeks for About Damn Time. I got to thank y'all for all the love and support. It means the world to me. Salute. I'm out.